Well, my very first solo stand-up comedy gig was the opening night of the Comedy Store, which was in, I think, I'm not, 29th of May, I might have got that wrong. I think it was the 29th of May, 1979. And the original Comedy Store was at 69 Dean Street in a strip club, drinking club, called the Gargoyle Club, which you could only get to in a lift, which held 4 people. And that was the moment that began everything. Well, mostly just crazy people, really. But I think, this has been written about a lot. So I think Clive Anderson was there, I remember. Maybe Lee Corns was there. But it was a bizarre, for some reason I think kind of Cambridge Footlights had picked up on it and just nutcases, really. It was just like a kind of freak show. Arnold Brown, of course, was there the first night. It was only sort of within the next few months. First of all, Tony Allen came down, and then Keith Allen, and then Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson, and then Peter Richardson, Nigel Plain, and Andy Delatorre, Jim Barkley, who formed the core of what became alternative cabaret, and the comic strip, and then the young ones, and then London, Sydney, Paris, New York. There was a topless bar upstairs, and then you went down some stairs, and it was the Gargoyle Club. And the Gargoyle Club had been a drinking club from the 1930s. And I don't know what happened to them, these kind of metal stairs, beautiful, from the 1930s. The stairs were metal with kind of gold, or some kind of gold alloy edge in them, and they're exquisite 1930s Art Deco. I don't know what happened to them. And you went down, there was these kind of spindly gilt chairs, and there was a slash curtain, the Baker floor, little stage, tables and chairs, waitress service, bar. And so it was a classic, you expected Roger Moore as the Saint to come in, permanently. It was a classic kind of Soho nightclub. It's now the Soho Townhouse. Liverpool had always had this thing of being like people very loquacious, kind of like an Irish thing. The people, you would find people. I don't know what it's like now. So you'd be in a pub and some blokes would be debating, Metternich and the Prussian, expansion of the, Prussian militaries of the 1890s, or Descartes, and then they'd have a fight. So it was. So I just had this idea about, because it was like a talking city, but also a fighting city, So I just fused these two, this idea together. I had this character who told this long. It was like a monologue, really. Who'd had a sequence of arguments with people about philosophy, or like in a cake shop, a woman in a cake shop, which then ends with just like a scrap, they end up fighting. Like she comes, I asked for like a sticky bun, and she says, "What is a sticky bun?" And they have a kind of discussion, existentialist. And then she comes at me, and then I twat her with the cash register, and I end up threatening the audience. So that was my first routine. But that was also the basis, I suppose, of my persona. That it was, that the material was intellectual, but also with a lot of violence. There was a producer from London Weekend Television called Tony something or other, who like draped in gold and stuff like that, and he gave me his card, and he wanted me to be on this talent show that they had, and I was like, we couldn't remember. We went home on the night bus, and Linda was drunk and started being babies sick, and I got this card. I think this is my ticket to, this is my ticket to stardom. And thank Christ, LWT it was. They had then had a strike for about 6 months, so I couldn't do it, which was fine. I would have just died. think Arnold sort of said hi, and then he went, "Gong!" Everybody. I think Clive did all right. And I remember there was a journalist called Tom Tickell, that's right, an insurance journalist, who did it on the first night. You know, it was all just chaos, really. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, some people got through it. I think was probably the best you can say. Remember, there was a fucker called Jack something. He was the jazz correspondent to the Standard, and he gave it like a shitty review because he didn't know what it was. And Corin was there, and I didn't think he liked it. They just thought it was. They just sneered at it, you know. Nobody saw any. You know, saw the future, you know, what it would become. Your sweat so sour. I was doing a certificate in education at Ghana College, which was I'd been teaching part time for a couple of years, teaching general studies to printing apprentices, and I thought, oh well, I might as well learn how to do this properly. And my exam for my certificate of education was on the Monday, and on the Sunday night I'd been again the comedy clubs that were ran on the Sunday and the Monday, so again I'd been there too. And there was nobody there on the. I might be that's right. I think on the Sunday there was nobody there, and we all performed for each other, but we still managed to stay till like 2 or 3 a.m. So my exam was in the morning, and I knew they never failed anyway. So I kind of wrote some shit for like an hour. It was like a 3-hour exam, and then I sort of wrote, however, as if I'd been interrupted, and they just got up and walked out. And they gave me the fucking degree anyway. I'd been doing since I'd left art school. I'd been doing these shit jobs, you know, cleaning toilets, building ware, you know, being a clerk, and the media had seemed like a kind of fortress, impenetrable fortress, because I hadn't been to Cambridge. I was not well connected, you know, with anybody. And so I knew that I had an artistic vision, but I couldn't conceive of a way to make that connection with the media. And obviously the media was much more monolithic than now. You know, anybody can do anything with the internet. But the media, then you had to get through these gates, really. You had to go and see a man at the BBC, and then, you know, he would get you on a programme, you know. I didn't know how to go about that. And so for me, that night was the kind of, I knew from that night, whatever happened, that I was inside, that I got through the gates. And I was, even though there's a long way to go and the coverage was kind of sneer, I knew that I got over the wall. So sour.